and welcome to Just About Watches. Before we do today's review, guys, I'm going to dedicate it to three people. Kevin Wiley, a photographer from Scotland, Tender Sergei and Kenneth Hamilton, who are both moderators of the Just About Watches closed group. Now, a little bit about Kevin. He's a photographer from Scotland who's very good, actually. I've looked at his work. And he's also a keen watch collector and enthusiast. He posted a rather touching story about losing a close friend recently and mentioned the fact that his friend, prior to passing, had given him a Hublot. Now, that's no mean feat because it's a high quality watch, we all know that, but that's academic. It could have been a Swatch for all I care. It was an absolutely wonderful touch because Kevin, being a watch enthusiast, knows the importance of having that legacy watch. It will evoke and solicit good memories each time he wears it. And that's the power of a watch, believe it or not. It can take us away from negativity to positivity, and Just About Watches endorses that. It's why we exist. So to Tender and to Kenneth Hamilton. Now, Tender lost his mum a few weeks ago, but far from dwelling in the obvious pain that one will suffer from such a tragic loss, Tender decided to carry on as best he could, moderating, and to moderate one of the world's largest groups of watch enthusiasts isn't an easy task at the best of times, but to go through that pain as well is something, quite frankly, I have to admire. It just epitomizes what good there is in people. Kenneth is the same. He lost his dad just a few days ago, and despite that he's found solace of some sort in helping moderate the group whilst going through that obvious pain again. I'm humbled by that, by the fact that these people recognize, by preoccupying their mind with the positivity that Just About Watches generates, they take away, or at least dilute to some extent, the pain and suffering they must be going through with their losses. And that epitomizes what Just About Watches in its entirety is about. I founded it on the principle that it would keep me from dwelling on the pain and suffering and awful thoughts of what the brain tumor can and might do, and what it is doing at the time, and of course my wife's breast cancer. It stops me thinking negatively, because while I'm constantly active, and it has been noted by many, I'm fortunate that I divert my attentions from negativity to positivity. It's working because the campaigns we do have grown our groups to an incredible level. I didn't in my wildest dreams ever think that this would happen. I knew that a few people would take on board the message, but for hundreds of thousands around the world to join up on the various sectors of the group and the network, and then message me with letters and texts of gratitude, it is ever so humbling. I'm only doing what I would like others to do. I'm helping myself in many ways, because know that this isn't a financial empire or entity as other groups are or think they are. This is a not-for-profit network that is there for one or two purposes. The first is obviously to raise awareness for brain tumor and cancer research, and secondly, and probably more important for me, and perhaps I'm being a little bit selfish, is to keep my mind occupied, because suffering the unknown is awful. It's not like suffering a loss. I've lost my mum, lost my dad. I know how painful that is. but it's different when you're suffering from tangible illnesses that you don't know how long it's going to last. I don't mind if it lasts for 20 years as long as I'm here. I can put up with the pain. But being involved with Just About Watches helps, and for that I thank you all. So back to the positivity and the brand in hand. Now this is a Polish microbrand called G.Gerlach, and I'm going to show you the presentation case as well as the watch, because I believe that that epitomizes the message that G.Gerlach want to send and put across. The watch is made of a light beech type or light pine effect wood, very well made, with a lush velvet inner with very neatly placed guarantee card. A lot of thought has gone into this watch case, and believe it or not, I've paid more money for presentation cases of this quality than I would for the watch and case together that Gerlach only charge. It's under $150, so it really is impressive. They put you on a massive positive right from the get-go. Now, it would be remiss of me to not speak about the history behind Gerlach, because that is important to a brand, and it's, how can I put the word, credibility behind the motivation. A lot of people are motivated by greed, but Gerlach are not. Their idea was created out of reminiscing through times gone by with regards to the Polish industry and how much quality was put into their work. They used to make everything from fridges, tanks, cars, and even ships, and were incredibly good at what they did. They were famous worldwide for Lech Walesa, the trade union activist who was imprisoned for standing up for other people in the industry and trying to give them the rights they deserved. Now, these people were the highest skilled craftsmen you can imagine, but weren't recognized with a communist regime. Thankfully, good, oversaw evil, and Lech Walesa actually got a Nobel Peace Prize in 1983, and even went on to become the second Polish president in 1990 to 1995. So that was one in the face of communism for certain, and it demonstrated in one fell swoop the passion that the Polish workforce have. And that's the whole premise of what G.Gerlach are trying to bring about. The Made in Poland label that was so synonymous in times gone by of quality and confidence in that quality. So let's take a quick look at the watch. Now, as you can see, it will instantly evoke questions such as the one mentioned on the group. It's a strange looking shape. Well, it's actually born out of a shape with regards to tanks, and if you look at it, this 70p tank is actually a tribute to one of the workhorses Poland produced in the beginning of the Second World War with the 70p tank namesake. Now, that was actually used by the British Army, and even though the British adopted and adapted, they still maintained the staying power, for want of a phrase, the quality of the tank made in Poland. It was never made in the UK, and the British Army are proud to stand up to that fact. There's no taking credit for somebody else. Now, when you look at the watch, and I've been allowing you to drink it in, for want of a phrase I use, you will see that it is reminiscent of a tank. Have a look at the slightly enlarged crown. I do like the stamp on that. It's very turret-like. It has a dual layer to the body of the watch. It has two finishes which I find are absolutely gorgeous. The soft sheen finish of the main body is absolutely sublime. It is very tank-like when you look at it. Take all angles and it becomes very, very powerful. Now, look then further to the top part of the main body where the bezel is, and you can see how high gloss that is. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I mean that. You look at the face, and the face is proud. Yes, it uses the perhaps overcooked Mercedes type design on the hour hand, but to me they get away with it by the use of green in the hands. It's very cheeky, it's very clever, very well thought out. It brings out the military of the watch. It does evoke and elicit memories of tanks. Certainly does for me. It has fantastic touches to it. The tank on the back is a fantastic little touch. It has my obligatory laser engraved etching on the buckle, and even though I'm not a big fan of these clasps, that's not a negative for me. That can be quickly changed to a pin buckle as far as I'm concerned. Now, the tech specs for you guys out there, you know that these are going to be of a 316L grade steel. That is an absolute no-brainer. It's 41 millimeters wide, 52 millimeters lug to lug. It's 13 mil-ish in depth. It's made from, as I've said, 316L surgical grade steel, water resistant to 100 meters. It has sapphire glass with AR coating underneath to stop the reflections, of course, and as we can see, it has luminescent dial and markers. Now, the movement on this is a Seiko TMI NH35A automatic. That works for me because, akin to the tank that works forever and a day and goes through anything, this movement will do just that. Very well thought out and a very well chosen movement for the price point. It has a very, very supple out of the box strap that is 22 millimeters. I did say I'm not a huge fan of the clasp, and I'll remain that way, but that's just me. So my overall view of this watch, without any shadow of a doubt, the case gets a 10 out of 10 for me based on price point alone and the quality. The watch, it gets a 10 out of 10 because it has everything you can possibly want at that price point and more. I believe that these watches are undervalued, but I'm not going to go and tell them that just in case they put the prices up. I can't wait to have a go at a few of the other models to see if the continuity of construction is with them, because it's all well and good looking at one piece from a Microbrand or any other brand for that matter and giving it the thumbs up. But if they can't continue continuity, then quite frankly it's a no-win situation for most. I'm going to do that in the near future, and I'm going to let you guys know. So we don't need to go any further with regards to the watch. I would fully endorse that you get one as soon as possible. I hope that they don't do limited editions on it. It's too good a watch to do that. It should be mainstream. So in closing, we know that the watch is 100% given the message made in Poland with pride. I actually think that they have achieved what they set out to achieve, and that is sending the world of horology a message. Poland are back. Well done, you. G.Gerlach, I applaud you. I applaud the story. Now, this wouldn't be a review by me without the usual caveat and points about Just About Watches. It is a not-for-profit network. We will never gain, unlike other unsavory groups. We are here to benefit the members. There are two primary objectives, as you all probably know by now. One of them is to raise awareness for brain tumour and cancer research, which is so much needed and demonstrated by the loss of Kevin's friend and others. It cannot be emphasised enough that our view on watch collecting and our group is it's not a competition like some think. We aren't out to claim titles of being the biggest group. We don't make ludicrous claims, which some groups who've actually blocked me from advertising. And yes, you heard right. They've actually blocked the admin of Just About Watches from their group because I wanted to share my good fortune of gifting very good watches to the watch community. I don't know the motives behind that. All I can say is they prevented us from spreading the message of the need for awareness for cancer and brain tumour research, and therefore are as bad as cancer themselves. Now, that isn't aimed at the members, it's the administrators of that particular group. I'm not going to name or shame them. I'll just say and give a little hint that it wasn't very gentrified of them. It was disgraceful, and the world of horology frowns upon you. But we're not going to let that get us down. We are going to continue to grow. We are going to continue to show and demonstrate our desire to enjoy our shared passion of watch enthusiasm whilst spreading the message of our group. There's an awful lot of things to come that are not on Facebook. I'm not going to reveal them just yet, but they are very, very imminent. And I hope that everybody from Just About Watches will get to benefit from that. On that point, I will now close by saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. The main thing I want you to do is to stay healthy and stay well.